RAK at $10,072. And then there's a Gravel Ariens Pro, 652 at $1,500. $12,000, thank you, $500, thank you.
Ron said these
Yeah.
both met,
Yeah.
Ron said they both met all of his criteria, and he would probably recommend going with the John Deere just because it's cheaper.
Okay,
And he would be here if he wasn't at a fire.
yeah, and I was just gonna make that, we have a couple council members, or a couple, city employees who were intended to be here there, that are not here because of a fire, so.
Okay.
So Ron's recommendation is the John Deere, Z760R, was it ZT rack, RAK, I mean,
Z-Track.
Z-Track, okay,
Zero turn.
gotcha, all right. I should know that, that's right.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the John Deere Z-Track for $10,725.
Second.
Discussion,
I'm going to abstain from the vote.
I'm also, I can abstain too, can I?
okay, sure,
Yeah, we still
We have enough,
We
okay.
have enough.
I'm not just for the record, I'm not doing this deal. I pushed it to someone else in the office, but I'll still abstain
Okay.
from the vote.
make the, so, motion and a second to purchase the John Deere, Z60R Z-Track, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Makes note that two people have abstained. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is to reopen the lineman position.
Make a motion, reopen the lineman position, and accept applications. We can get details from Dustin, but I would say wage depending on experience is about the best way to put it, as
Yep.
advertise
Yep.
it.
Okay.
I would second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reopen the lineman position, wages based on experience. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, street committee recommendation with regard to East 14th Street, Broadway East 3rd Street, or Third Avenue, street repair. Did,
I wasn't on that street committee meeting.
Yeah, You're the chairman, I think.
Yep. Basically, they just discussed the water and road problems out there with runnings coming in to get a better road. It's not on the budget, so Dale was gonna ask some questions from a couple people about how would be a good way to drain that so it doesn't go clear into the Titan parking lot. Basically, it's the start of what will be put on the budget for next year, if I'm correct.
okay,
Right, and that guy I was gonna talk to hasn't gotten back. He goes in the south yet too, so.
Oh, with
when
the
he
drain
gets
tile?
here, yeah. I'm gonna have him take a look at that and get a guesstimate anyway of what it would cost to pull and what size of a pipe he would recommend. And we would probably have an intake in the ditch approximately where the store is on the south side and drain it to the pit down to the south, where it would then be able to gravity flow to the creek. And I would think you'd want to use, I don't know that you have to get the people down the street, the water people involved in that or not. We'll have to find out. But if you can go through there with the perforated, it would also drain anything from you guys' lot and from Harold's.
And in the meantime, Ron said he was gonna
Try to clean the
clean out
ditch.
that ditch.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the first thing on, I know you did reach out, with regard to engineering fees, and I'll let Tim explain that when he comes, but I think the first thing that they would wanna do was to address the drainage, and with regard to that, so.
Well, and I was in some emails back and forth with Terry and Ron, and they said since it was an abandoned road, that the city of Miller did take it over. Because initially they thought it was the county's.
good,
So,
good point. because
just so
that-
you know,
Yeah, because there was some discussion
right?
with regard to that. So we're trying to get, visiting with Ron this afternoon, he's trying to get as much detail with regard to the drainage of it, and then try to work something out there, clean out the ditches, and then see what it's going to take for, to put on next year's budget with regard to that matter, okay? On page 3, you'll see an invoice from Wesco Distribution as far as field meter test quote for $12,250.
Could you explain to me what a field meter test is?
You beat me to it. I was gonna ask the same thing.
Well, I was hoping that's where one of the, would be here. I think, is that the one that they go around and automatically?
From what I understand, it's where they're testing to see if the connection going into the meter, what the voltage is and stuff like that, because they're thinking that there might be some discrepancies from. The meters are all new now, so once the meters were new, he wanted to make sure the connection was what it should be.
Yeah.
So,
So they're testing the new meters we just put in?
no, they're testing the line going into the new meters to make sure that that line is like from the transformer or something like that.
Make sure it's connected right, so
Yeah.
the meters are doing what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
And I'd apologize if I knew Dustin wasn't gonna be here out of, I would have found out more about that, so thanks
Again,
Shayla
it
for
was,
that.
He's at the fire.
Well-
Yeah, he's
so-
at the fire too, so.
Well, is this something we should table until Dustin's here to explain it more at the next meeting?
You can, I
Or
know
what do
that
we
he's
think?
trying to coordinate this with somebody else in this area that's also, I think Dakota Energy or somebody else that's doing meter testing, so hopefully it's a little bit cheaper by having it.
As far as
One
travel
trip.
and trip and
Yeah,
But I,
In the bills, is this the one that had a, that was something different?
that was different.
Okay.
yeah, that was different.
It says on here, expiration date is April 13th.
We have an April 1st meeting, so we're still okay.
I think I would feel better if Dustin were here to explain it a little better.
Yes, I'd-
Myself, before we spend $12,000 on something.
Okay,
So we got a motion to table.
I make a motion, we table it until the April 1st meeting.
okay, we have a motion to table, the, Wesco distribution field testing quote. A motion, a second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same. Motion carries. Okay, Dustin, with regard to, and I don't have that in front of me, with regard to his third year raise.
He just took his final for his third year of journeyman, and also his third year of being here is the 29th? It's the 29th. So he would have his $1 per hour for
increase.
his journeyman addition, for his
Okay.
passing his journeyman test,
Okay,
is what he's looking for on that.
And what's the third year? They get a third year raise?
Just every year that they pass the journeyman, all of the hours and all of the tests involved, then they get $1. He'll have one more year, both him and Devin have one more year. So we just did Devin's third year at the last meeting or the one before. For when his third year, he just passed his test, so,
okay.
but Dustin's actual third year of employment is this month also.
Okay.
I think it's more of a, it goes along with that certification.
Kind of an
dollar an
incentive
hour per
type thing for your
certification.
CDL and that type of
Yeah.
thing.
They have so many books to get towards their journeymans, so he would be passing the next book, his third book,
Yeah, there's-
towards his journeymans.
There's 10 chapters or 10 books within that year. So he just took his final last week. and passed.
So this would be a raise for his accomplishments, not
Yes.
for a third year.
Not for a third year. of
Because a
employment.
third year of employment we don't do until budget
No,
time.
But he has to
Okay.
have so many hours of working as a journeyman
Per,
as well.
sure.
So he
No,
couldn't, I mean, he could have taken his test 6 months ago, but he wouldn't have qualified because he would have had enough hours.
oh, I get that. I just
So-
wanted to clarify that, because the way it says third year raise, it's almost
Yeah.
like,
Third year journeyman.
One we
should
do
be
in a
Yeah.
budget type, well, good,
Yeah.
good. That's clarification I
Third year
needed.
journeyman testing, I guess you could do.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve the dollar an hour raise for the third-year journeyman.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. Hearing none, motion on the table is to increase Dustin's wage by $1 for his recertification as far as journeyman license. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, on page 4, you'll find resolution 2024-2. And I'll read that. Resolution authorizing an application for the financial assistance, authorizing the execution and submittal of the application and designing and authorizing representative to certify and sign payment requests. Whereas the city of Miller, the entity, has determined it necessary to proceed with improvements to its water system, including but not limiting to abandoning wells, water storage improvements, and water main improvements. The project, and whereas the entity has determined that the financial assistance will be necessary to undertake the project, and an application for financial assistance to the South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resources, the board, will be prepared, and whereas it is necessary to designate an authorized representative to execute and submit an application on behalf of the entity, and to certify and sign payment request in the event financial assistance is awarded to the project, or for the project. Now therefore it be resolved by the entity as follows. The entity hereby approves the submission of an application for financial assistance in the amount not to exceed $1,100,000 to the South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resources for the project. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute the application and submit it to the South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resources, and to execute and deliver such other documents and perform all acts necessary to effectuate the application for financial assistance. The mayor is hereby designated as the authorized representative of the entity to do all things on its behalf, to certify and sign payment requests in the event financial assistance is awarded for the project. Dated this 18th day of March, 2024.
So this is, I'm assuming for phase 4?
Yes.
And this is an application, it doesn't necessarily, okay. Because we're still waiting on the soil samples from that, correct?
Which is just a small project, part of phase.
Correct,
four.
correct. But it is the,
Water, the additional water
right, okay,
costs of the water.
right, that was short, sure.
And the application has to be put in before April 1st. We will be having a public hearing on April 1st for Ted Dickey to discuss this more for you.
Okay,
The application has to be in before then.
So we vote on it before we have his
We're
input?
still, yeah, we vote to apply for it, but he'll still do a public hearing to explain the whole thing.
and informational, okay.
Yep.
Informational on the 1st, which is why that was dated April 1st. But we-
Yeah.
We have to do this beforehand.
Okay.
You gotta get this to the Board of Water and Natural Resources so
Yes.
they can act on it.
Yes.
Which will probably be in June, I think, is it?
I think June is the time that they do it.
But the application's due by April 1st. So.
And usually those include a lot of grant money, so you don't wanna let it slide.
No.
Not saying we're gonna do the project, but if you're
Yeah,
gonna. you
It's better to have the
ducks in a
paperwork
row.
there in case.
in case.
You're hunting ducks when it's duck season. It's duck season for this.
Okay. With that, I would, if you so choose, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2024-2 as read.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, and just more or less with the discussion as far as clarification that with regard to what this is, entails. So, okay, we have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2024-2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, fire hall flooring, that's found on page 5. If I remember correctly, this has been budgeted for, so, that was, put in by, Scott Gibson Construction. And basically is the tile and labor for removal and restall trim and floor for the fire hall main room, kitchen and hallway, carpet and labor removal of old carpet, and to install new commercial carpet in office. Total cost is $20,329. With the tax, it would come to a total of $20,818.93.
I make a motion, we approve Scott Gibson Construction for the bid in the amount of $20,818.93 for the City of Miller Fire Department.
Just to clarify, this is an estimate, not a bid.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
It's an estimate. So it could be, it probably could,
I don't know what it
Yeah.
could turn into. I just know right on the top, it says estimate. So, I mean, because this was the estimate that was given to
Oh,
us
okay.
last summer, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, so we did this before budget season is when. this
So
was
we
the
could
estimate.
budget for it, yeah.
So what is the budget for, improvements for the fire hall this year? Ish.
I know it's like 25,000 or something like that, cause there were a couple other smaller things.
Well, I know we went for more than what this actual estimate
yeah,
was,
that's
because we
right.
always accounted for like 10% more, I think is what we did, just to be safe, if I remember right. Which,
I just know if we word it right or better now, it could solve a issue for later.
I would make a motion, we approve the estimate from Scott Gibson Construction for the amount of $20,818.93.
Second.
okay, discussion. Hearing none, the motion and second is to approve Scott Gibson's estimate for the flooring of our fire hall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
I move to approve the bills.
I have a question on the bills.
Okay,
There was one in there that had a $1,200 online training or something. Was that,
$7,200 that we're not paying for,
you have a green note on it.
yeah, we didn't pay that portion because Christie and Dustin did most of it on their own, so Dustin's gonna dispute that amount. So we didn't add that amount into there.
Okay, so that's just not,
Yeah, they'll have to
Anything yet?
bill us a different amount or not at all, we're gonna adjust that, so. But yeah, we did not, Dustin would not approve that one.
because of the training.
Yeah,
They
because
did their
Christie and
own.
him did it pretty much. They figured it out on their own.
Good.
Good job. So, you're okay with the bills? Okay. So I move to approve the bills.
I'll second it.
discussion. Hearing none, the motion on the table and a second to approve the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Make a
Okay.
motion, we move into executive session, personal pursuant SDCL 1-25-2, parentheses 1.
Sounds good.
Second.
Okay, motions. Second to go into exec section. So. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys have got this kind of down pat.
Then it's,
No,
then it's all gonna get screwed up.
I looked at the schedule again.